Northwestern has fired head coach Pat Fitzgerald after 17 years or something, and I don't know, probably being the best coach in Northwestern history. Over the past few days, Northwestern released that they'd completed an investigation into hazing, that they'd suspended head coach Pat Fitzgerald for 2 weeks, and then the Northwestern student newspaper came out with an article detailing some of the hazing from some other player, and some of it was really weird. I mean, like kinky weird. I mean, like being dry humped by your teammates when you didn't want to be in a dark room while they were wearing purge-like masks. Who in their right mind would think that that's an okay thing to do? I mean, maybe I'm not going to tell you what your kinks should be or shouldn't be, but just in a football program. Then there was some other stuff, all based on nudity and weird acts, and my God. Then the entire, after that was released, the Northwestern student newspaper story, the entire Northwestern team signed a statement that these new things never happened, and even if they did, Pat Fitzgerald never knew about them, which was a really badly worded statement. And then Northwestern president Michael Schill decided that maybe 2 weeks wasn't enough, and maybe he miscalculated. And really what he didn't say, or what he was really saying is, gee, I didn't think anybody cared about Northwestern football, because I sure as hell don't. They're taking this a lot more seriously than I thought. Keep in mind, all the investigation material was private and never released, and then they fired Pat Fitzgerald after Michael Schill, the president of Northwestern, had very long, internal dialogue about being dry humped in a dark room by people he didn't like doing that to him. All of this has to be one of the weirdest sports college football stories ever. But at the same time, you kind of look around and you go, what the hell is the Big Ten doing? I mean, if you look over the past, 10, 15, I don't know how many years of Big Ten stuff, that just the bizarre and horrifying scandals that this conference has had is just mind-boggling. I mean, you got Larry Nassar, you've got the whole Jerry Sandusky thing. I could go through a list. And then we all look at the SEC and they go, oh, they play their players are cheating. And then the Big Ten has this kind of shit going on in the background. So I guess the reaction that I have to this is it's shocking. I mean, I think Pat Fitzgerald, I've always said, I've done many videos where I said he was one of the best coaches in the nation. To find out that any of this stuff happened and that he'd been fired over it is really shocking. And listen, if you're an older guy like me and you look at hazing stuff and you go, okay, well, the world's gone soft. Who can't handle a little bit of bullying, a little bit, makes you tougher, things like that. For God's sakes, look into the details. And realize that this is a different world than the world we grew up in. That you can't do that kind of shit anymore. It's not acceptable behavior. If you want to go way back, you could look at the let's say the late 60s, when guys started growing their hairs long and women were burning their bras and sexual evolution happened and society changed. And if you didn't change along with it, you were going to not be coaching, or you were going to be failing. And, this is kind of the same thing. If you're not adjusting to these things and understanding that hazing in any form is not acceptable, then you're probably going to be out on your ass, as like Pat Fitzgerald. And I think the real lesson that we have to take from this is never play football in Ireland. This is John Johnston, CornNation. Hope you're all doing well. I'm still in Texas. Maybe you can hear the cicadas in the background. It's really creepy. It's like that 1979 Frogs movie.